Seniors, I am begging you to stop eating these 6 vegetables that are slowly damaging your heart. You creak open the pantry, maybe barefoot on cold kitchen tile, and your hand instinctively reaches for that little silver tin. It's a ritual now, isn't it? That small can of sardines. You pop the tab, peel back the lid with that oddly satisfying hiss, and there they are, little glistening fish packed tightly in oil or brine, their tiny eyes still staring into your soul. You fork one out, maybe mash it onto a cracker, and as the flavor hits, salty, rich, oddly comforting, you tell yourself, it's healthy. Fish is good for you, right? But hold on, because tonight we're opening more than just a can. We're unsealing a truth that most food labels and well-meaning grandkids won't warn you about. Sardines might be nature's mini superfood, or they might be a ticking time bomb for your aging body. And yes, you probably won't survive this sardine segment without questioning your snack drawer. So before you get comfortable, take a moment to like the video and subscribe, but only if you genuinely enjoy what I do here. Drop your location and local time in the comments, because you never know who else is crunching a sardine in Toledo at 9:47 p.m. Now, dim the lights, maybe turn on a fan for that soft background hum, and let's ease into tonight's journey together. Let's start with the basics. Why do sardines even have a health halo in the first place? They're small, they're fish, and they come crammed with omega-3 fatty acids, those magical anti-inflammatory molecules that everyone from Dr. Oz to your great-nephew keeps raving about. The idea is this: eat oily fish, lower your risk of heart disease, stroke, and cranky knees. And yes, sardines deliver a hefty omega-3 punch. In fact, a single can contains more than the daily recommended dose for seniors, without you having to swallow a horse pill fish oil capsule. Sounds like a win, right? But here's the twist. Sardines are also one of the saltiest creatures in your cupboard. That same 3-ounce can that blesses you with all those healthy fats can also douse your bloodstream with over 300 to 400 milligrams of sodium. For reference, your entire daily limit should be around 1,500 milligrams if you're over 60, and you probably hit that before you even buttered your morning toast. And salt doesn't just mess with your blood pressure. In older adults, excessive sodium intake is linked to fluid retention, increased risk of heart failure, and even cognitive decline. That's right. Too many sardines, and you might not just forget where your keys are. You might forget why you walked into the kitchen in the first place. Now, we haven't even touched on the oil situation. Many canned sardines come swimming in soybean oil, sunflower oil, or some vague vegetable oil concoction that hasn't seen a vegetable since 1997. These oils can oxidize easily and cause inflammation, pretty much the opposite of what your creaky joints and tired heart need.
And we need to talk about the type of sardine you're eating. Not all tins are created equal. Some come packed in tomato sauce, added sugar, mustard, surprise acidity, or hot pepper, gastrointestinal roulette. While variety is the spice of life, spicy sardines at 9 p.m. can mean a 2 a.m. acid reflux rave. Let's not forget the tin can itself. Sure, it's convenient. No cooking, no prep, but most sardine cans are lined with BPA, bisphenol A, a chemical known to mess with hormones. If you're already balancing thyroid meds, blood pressure pills, and the occasional senior multivitamin, do you really need one more chemical doing the cha-cha in your bloodstream? Here's the thing. Sardines can be incredibly good for you, but they sit right on the knife's edge between miracle fish and, oh no, my ankles are swollen again. Consider this your wake-up call. You're not 20 anymore, scarfing down protein like a CrossFit addict. Your body processes salt, fat, and even micronutrients differently now. It's a delicate dance. Too little of something, and you're weak. Too much of it, and your kidneys start composing sad country music ballads. You might be thinking, but it's just fish, not a bag of chips. True, but fish from a can that's been marinating in salt water and industrial oil for months? That's a little more complicated. And let's be honest, most of us don't stop at half a can. You eat the whole thing, maybe with crackers, maybe with cheese, maybe straight from the tin because dinner for one doesn't require silverware. You tell yourself it's healthy, but your blood pressure cuff thinks otherwise. So tonight, we're going deeper. We'll look at the calcium boost from their tiny bones. We'll talk about the mercury content. Yes, even tiny fish have dirty secrets. We'll unpack the digestive side effects no one wants to mention at Bridge Club. And in the end, we'll figure out if you should keep stocking your pantry or chuck that last tin and never look back. But for now, sit with this. That silver can may hold more than just fish. It may hold the key to why you feel tired, bloated, foggy, or just a little off. And if that sounds dramatic, well, wait until you hear what's in Section 2.
You stare at that tiny, fork-tender fish spine and wonder, am I really supposed to eat this? The short answer, yes, and it might just be the best part. But before you turn away in mild disgust, let's unwrap the quiet nutritional bombshell that is the sardine skeleton. Because if there's one thing those soft little bones are doing right, it's playing MVP for your aging frame. Seniors, your bones are not what they used to be. Osteoporosis doesn't show up with fanfare, it creeps in. A few inches lost in height, a little hunch, that awkward crack when you get up from the couch that wasn't there last year. That's where calcium comes in. But not just from pills or milk that messes with your stomach. Sardines give you the real deal, bioavailable calcium. That's the kind your body actually absorbs. When you eat the whole sardine, bones and all, you're not just chewing on something weird. You're fortifying your spine, ribs, and hips with nearly 30% of your daily calcium needs in one single can. And paired with phosphorus, which sardines also offer, that calcium knows exactly where to go. Think of it as GPS for your skeleton. But wait, there's more. Sardines are also protein powerhouses. You're getting around 20 to 25 grams per can, which is an absolute gift when you're over 60. Why? Because muscle mass declines naturally with age. It's called sarcopenia, and unless you're doing strength training with your cat as a dumbbell, your muscles are quietly deflating like forgotten balloons. Protein repairs, protein preserves, protein prevents your thighs from turning into mush. And the beauty of sardine protein? It's complete. That means it contains all 9 essential amino acids. No need to combine with beans or chase it with quinoa. It's just there, doing its job while you catch up on old detective shows. Now let's talk about vitamin D. If calcium is the bricklayer of your bones, vitamin D is the foreman. Without it, all that lovely calcium just floats around in your bloodstream wondering what to do with itself. Most older adults are shockingly deficient in vitamin D, thanks to sunscreen, indoor living, and, well, winter. But sardines come to the rescue again, especially the ones packed in oil, which help you absorb that fat-soluble sunshine vitamin more efficiently. So far, so good, right? Well, kind of. You see, just because sardines can strengthen your bones doesn't mean your body always throws a party when they arrive. For some seniors, especially those with sensitive digestion or autoimmune conditions, the tiny bones can feel a bit too crunchy. And while they're softened during the canning process, your stomach may still treat them like unwelcome guests. Add to that the occasional odd texture, grainy, gritty, or downright slimy depending on the brand, and suddenly that nutritious tin starts feeling like a dare.
Not to mention, people with kidney issues need to tread carefully. Sardines are rich in purines, which break down into uric acid. If you're prone to gout, or even just the occasional, "why does my toe feel like it's on fire" moment, then overloading on sardines could be like lighting a match in a fireworks store. And let's not forget the smell, because for all their nutrient density, Sardines do not exactly scream date night. One open can perfume your entire kitchen with ode to low tide. If you live in a shared space, spouse, kids, or that nosy neighbor who always drops by when you're eating something weird, be prepared to defend your snack choices with scientific evidence, and maybe a scented candle. That said, if you're not bothered by a bit of fishy funk and your stomach agrees with them, sardines can quietly rebuild what age slowly dismantles. Calcium, protein, vitamin D, phosphorus, even a little iron and potassium in the mix. And here's a bonus. Sardine bones are soft enough that they don't require teeth. Got dentures, crowns, gaps? No problem. These little calcium-packed cylinders are more forgiving than a bowl of overcooked oatmeal. And they actually do something for you besides taste like paste. Of course, all of this assumes you're not piling your sardines onto 3 slices of buttered white toast with a side of soda. The context matters. A good food in a bad diet becomes a confused footnote. But in a smart, senior-friendly meal plan, think sardines with avocado, whole grain crackers, or leafy greens, they really can be tiny personal trainers for your bones. So here's the sardine skeleton truth bomb. Eating those little bones isn't just okay, it's ideal. If you can get past the idea of eating an entire fish, tail, spine, and all, you're feeding your bones and muscles something modern snack food never delivers. Functional density, a fancy term that basically means this snack actually helps you walk tomorrow. And honestly, how many things in your pantry can say that? Now, remember that salt we mentioned earlier? In Section 3, we're pulling back the curtain on sodium, the silent sabotager in your tin. Because those strong bones won't matter if your blood pressure's knocking on stroke's door. You twist the lid off your blood pressure monitor with a sigh, wrap the cuff around your arm like a slow ritual, and press the button. As the numbers climb, you stare down at that half-eaten tin of sardines on the counter and wonder, was it worth it? Because for all the protein, calcium, and fishy charm, there's a stealthy villain tucked between those briny little fillets, and its name is sodium. Let's cut straight to the ugly truth. Canned sardines are salty, not lightly seasoned salty, not this needs a glass of water salty. We're talking 300 to 500 milligrams of sodium in a single 3-ounce can. That's a quarter, maybe even a third of your entire daily limit, gone in one snack. If you've ever downed a full tin while watching the news, congratulations, you just seasoned your bloodstream like a bag of pretzels. Now, here's where it gets personal. As someone over 60, your kidneys aren't as efficient at excreting excess sodium. That means more salt lingers in your system, pulling water into your blood vessels, increasing volume, and turning your circulatory system into a high-pressure fire hose. Cue elevated blood pressure, cue increased risk of heart attack, cue the maybe I shouldn't have eaten that moment at 2 a.m., when your ankles feel like overstuffed sausages. And it's sneaky, isn't it? Because sardines are marketed as healthy. You're not eating fries, you're not adding table salt, but sodium hides in plain sight, especially in canned foods where it serves as a preservative. It's not there to flavor, it's there to extend shelf life. Your convenience becomes your consequence. Now, some of you are already checking the label. Good. But here's the kicker. Even the low-sodium sardines, they're often still over 150 milligrams per serving. Multiply that by I ate the whole can math, and you're back in the danger zone. Your doctor didn't recommend the DASH diet so you could flirt with heart failure by fish. And while we're talking hearts, guess what sodium also affects? Arterial stiffness. Too much salt makes your blood vessels less elastic, meaning your heart has to work harder just to pump blood around your body. Think of it like trying to water a garden with a crinkled hose. Things back up. Things burst. Things go wrong. Now,
Not every senior is salt sensitive, true. Some people can eat a salt lick and still have the blood pressure of a Tibetan monk. But for most, especially those on blood pressure meds, diuretics, or managing heart conditions, every unnecessary milligram of sodium is like playing dietary Jenga. One wrong move, and everything topples. But wait, it's not all gloom and doom. Let's talk solutions, because believe it or not all sardines are sodium bombs. Some brands actually do care. Look for labels that say no salt added or low sodium, ideally under 140 milligrams per serving. Yes, they're harder to find. Yes, they cost a bit more, but guess what? So does a hospital stay. Another tip? Rinse your sardines. Seriously, pop them in a colander and give them a quick rinse under cold water. It won't remove all the sodium, but it can knock off 30 to 40%, which in salt math is a pretty big deal. Bonus, it also dials down that strong canned fish flavor, if that's been holding you back. Even better, pair your sardines with potassium-rich foods like avocado, spinach, or white beans. Why? Because potassium helps balance sodium in the body. It encourages the kidneys to flush out excess salt, keeping your blood pressure in check. It's like giving your heart a little backup team. And let's be real, it's not about never eating sardines again. It's about knowing when to say, this one's worth it, and when to say, maybe I'll stick to scrambled eggs today. That's the quiet wisdom of aging, not cutting everything out, just curating your intake like a food critic with blood pressure meds. Still, sodium isn't just about numbers, it's about how you feel. Have you ever noticed puffy fingers the morning after a salty meal? Rings too tight? Shoes suddenly feel like sausages with laces? That's water retention, and it's your body waving a little white flag, begging you to cool it with the salt. Even cognitive issues are linked to high sodium intake. Recent studies suggest that excessive salt, especially when combined with low potassium, might accelerate cognitive decline. That's right. Too many salty snacks, and your brain may start buffering like bad Wi-Fi. Not exactly the golden years vibe you're going for. And here's a little-known twist. Some seniors reduce their sodium too much and end up feeling dizzy, weak, or foggy. It's rare, but it happens, especially if you're on diuretics or have adrenal issues. This is why balance is key. Not cut all salt, but cut the silent, sneaky salt you didn't know you were swallowing. Sardines fall right into that category. You think you're doing something smart for your heart, your bones, your brain, but if you're not checking the sodium content, you could be slowly turning your blood into broth. So next time you reach for that shiny little can, flip it over, read the label. Ask your future self, 3 hours from now, ankles elevated on the couch, if this can is really worth it today. Sometimes the answer is yes. Sometimes the answer is not tonight, fishy. Because in the world of senior health, your choices don't shout, they whisper. And sodium is whispering right now. Listen close. Coming up in Section 4, we're about to swim into murkier waters, mercury, BPA, and other sneaky toxins hiding in that innocent little tin. Because sodium isn't the only thing sardines are packing. The tin glints in the kitchen light. You've checked the label, calories, sodium, maybe even protein, and feel pretty smug. Then you peel it open, sniff cautiously, and pause. What else might be hiding in that shiny little metal coffin? Because if you're thinking only salt and fish, you're missing the real plot twist. Toxins. Welcome to the toxic underbelly of your favorite convenience food, where microscopic invaders like mercury, BPA, and mystery can lining chemicals are playing a silent game of roulette with your body and your brain. Let's start with mercury. You've heard the warnings before, probably in the same breath as don't eat too much tuna, but sardines, being small and low on the food chain, tend to sidestep the mercury buildup problem, right? Sort of. Sardines are indeed lower in mercury compared to bigger fish like mackerel, swordfish, or your cousin's favorite all-you-can-eat sushi roll. Because they're short-lived and small, they don't have as much time to absorb mercury through the food chain. But low isn't the same as none.
Some studies have found trace amounts of mercury even in sardines, especially if they're caught from polluted waters. And here's the kicker. Your older body doesn't process heavy metals the same way a teenager's does. With age, your detoxification systems slow down. Your liver and kidneys get a little lazy. So even tiny amounts of mercury, if eaten regularly, can add up. And what does mercury do once it settles in? It doesn't just sit quietly. It targets your nervous system, your memory, your mood. If you've ever found yourself staring at the fridge forgetting why you opened it, well, that could be age, or it could be low-grade mercury exposure fogging the mental windows. Spooky, right? Now let's turn the spotlight to BPA, or bisphenol A, a chemical found in the lining of many food cans, including, yes, sardine tins. BPA is an endocrine disruptor. That means it mimics hormones in your body, particularly estrogen. And for seniors, especially women in postmenopause or men dealing with prostate concerns, BPA is like a hormonal prankster smashing around your carefully balanced system. You think it's just a can. You think, how much harm can this thin metal lining do? But repeated exposure, even at small levels, has been linked to increased risk of heart disease, insulin resistance, and even certain cancers. And unlike the sardines themselves, BPA doesn't offer any omega-3 redemption arc. Here's the part the labels don't tell you. Unless it says BPA-free in bold, that can probably contains BPA. Some manufacturers are switching to alternatives, but not all. And not all replacements are better. Some of the newer plastic liners, like BPS or BPF, may be just as bad, but they haven't been studied long enough to know for sure. It's like trading in your old rickety old car for one that might explode in a new and exciting way. So what can you do? For starters, choose brands that clearly state BPA-free. Bonus points if they also mention where their sardines are sourced. Portugal and Norway tend to have cleaner fishing waters than, say, the more industrial coastal regions of China. You want your sardines wild-caught, sustainably fished, and traceable, not scooped out of mystery sludge near a chemical plant.
Now, brace yourself. We're not done with the chemical parade. If your sardines come packed in tomato sauce or mustard, check for additives like citric acid, sodium benzoate, or vague words like flavoring. These are preservatives and enhancers that can irritate sensitive guts or contribute to inflammation, especially if your gut lining is already delicate from age, medication, or years of too many antacids. And don't even get us started on those smoked sardines. If the word smoke flavor is on the label, that's code for liquid smoke, a chemically flavored concentrate that's been linked in some studies to DNA-damaging compounds when consumed in high amounts. Sure, it tastes like campfire nostalgia, but your colon might not appreciate the trip down memory lane. Let's pause and take a breath. This might sound like a sardine takedown, but it's not. This is about informed eating. You deserve to know exactly what you're putting into your aging, magnificent, still-kicking body. Because sardines themselves aren't evil. They're just complicated. Like that friend who gives great advice, but always shows up late and forgets your birthday. So what's the takeaway? Stick to BPA-free cans. Even better if they're labeled non-GMO and certified sustainable. Skip the flavored versions. Tomato, mustard, or hot and spicy often come with additives your gut won't love. Rotate your intake. Don't eat sardines every single day. Give your body a break. Balance with detox foods. Leafy greens, cruciferous veggies, and lots of hydration help flush out lingering toxins. Listen to your body. If you feel off after eating sardines, foggy, bloated, or weirdly moody, it might not just be the weather. Because ultimately, what's in that can matters more at 70 than it did at 30. You're wiser now, more fragile in some ways, yes, but also more resilient in others. You don't need perfect food.
You just need food that respects your body instead of sneaking behind its back with a handful of industrial chemicals. Coming up in Section 5, we're heading straight to the gut, the place where digestion drama, food sensitivities, and sardine oil burps collide. Yes, it's about to get real. You pop the last sardine into your mouth, satisfied that you've just made a healthy choice. But 30 minutes later, your stomach starts murmuring like a grumpy old neighbor. There's a faint pressure rising in your chest, maybe a little burp that tastes suspiciously like fish oil and regret. You shift in your recliner, wondering, was that normal? Welcome to the digestive gamble of sardines. Because while your brain may applaud all that calcium and protein, your gut has opinions, strong ones. Let's begin with the sardine's oily legacy. Many brands pack their fish in oil, olive, soybean, sunflower, or vegetable, a choice that can either soothe your joints or wreck your evening depending on your digestion. Olive oil? Great! Anti-inflammatory, easy on your belly, Mediterranean diet approved. But soybean oil or generic vegetable oil? That's the stuff that leaves a film in your mouth and a grudge in your intestines. The older you get, the more your digestive system slows down. Stomach acid production drops, bile flow becomes a bit lazier, and your gallbladder, if you still have it, starts phoning in its job. So now fatty fish like sardines become harder to break down. The result? Nausea, bloating, that weird gassy feeling you pretend isn't happening during bingo night. And let's not ignore burping. Sardines have a reputation for making a return appearance hours later, sometimes with a vengeance. Fishy reflux isn't just unpleasant, it's embarrassing, especially if it happens during a conversation or, heaven forbid, a nap with your mouth open. Then there's histamine. Yes, sardines contain naturally occurring histamines, and the longer they sit before canning, the more histamines they produce. This can trigger reactions in sensitive individuals: headaches, flushing, hives, or digestive distress. If you've ever eaten sardines and felt the strange, itchy heat rise in your face or a sudden headache sneak up behind your eyes, that could be histamine intolerance whispering, maybe not today. Histamine sensitivity increases with age. Why? Because your body's production of DAO, diamine oxidase, the enzyme that breaks down histamine, often declines as you get older. Throw in some common senior medications like painkillers or hypertensives that further reduce DAO activity, and you've got a recipe for discomfort. Now, about food allergies. True sardine allergies are rare, but they do exist. Some people react to the proteins in fish muscle, or, more sneakily, to cross-contamination from shellfish during processing. Symptoms might include itching around the mouth, swelling, or a scratchy throat. If you notice your tongue feels weird or your throat tickles after sardines, don't assume it's just the pepper flakes. Your immune system might be throwing shade. But maybe you're not allergic or histamine sensitive. Maybe your sardines just make you feel off, like your gut microbiome doesn't trust them. That might be due to what they're packed in. Some sardines come marinated in acidic sauces, which can irritate the stomach lining, especially in older adults who already deal with GERD, acid reflux, or gastritis. And here's something many seniors don't realize. Sardines, despite being rich in omega-3s, are also high in purines. We touched on this earlier, but let's go deeper. Purines break down into uric acid, and if your kidneys aren't working as swiftly as they once did, which is common over 60, uric acid can build up. That's when gout enters the chat. If you've ever woken up to a swollen big toe that feels like it's on fire, you know exactly what I'm talking about. That's not just a freak accident. That's your body begging you to lay off the purine-packed fish.
Now, let's talk stool. Sardines can either keep you regular or turn your bathroom visits into a guessing game. The combo of oils and natural fats may stimulate digestion in some, but in others, it causes loose stools. Or the opposite, a sluggish, heavy belly that feels like you swallowed a rock. If you're dealing with constipation already, and let's be honest, most older adults are, sardines alone aren't going to fix it. In fact, the added calcium from those little bones can actually make things worse if you're not pairing them with enough fiber and water. But don't panic just yet. There are ways to make sardines more gut-friendly. Choose olive oil-packed varieties for smoother digestion. Rinse them, especially if they're overly salty or packed in sauces. Eat them with fibrous foods like leafy greens, whole grains, or even a sprinkle of chia seeds. Keep portions modest. Half a can may be plenty if you're not used to oily fish. Rotate your meals. Don't fall into the sardines every lunch trap. Your gut craves diversity. Still feeling gross after eating sardines? Track your symptoms. Keep a food journal. Notice patterns. Was it the sardines or the 3 slices of cheese you added on the side? Looking at you, Gouda. And remember, your gut isn't just your digestion station. It's your second brain. When it's inflamed, sluggish, or overwhelmed, everything else suffers. Energy drops, mood dips, sleep quality nosedives. Which brings us full circle. Sardines, when chosen wisely and consumed with respect, can nourish your body. But when forced upon a sensitive, aging digestive system like some sort of omega-3 punishment, they'll turn on you faster than an expired yogurt. In Section 6, we're closing this sardine saga with a guide. How to shop smart, eat smarter, and, if necessary, ditch the tin entirely. Because it's your body, your rules, and sardines don't get to boss you around.
So there you are, standing in the canned goods aisle under harsh fluorescent lights, squinting at a shelf full of sardine tins that all look the same but scream different promises. Wild caught, packed in olive oil, sustainably harvested, and the ever-suspicious with lemon essence. Your cartwheel is squeaking, your knees ache a little, and all you want is to buy the right kind without feeling like you need a PhD in marine biology. Let's make this easy. If you've stuck with us through the calcium, the salt, the histamines, the mystery oils, and the reflux burps, then you already know sardines are both powerful and problematic. The trick now is figuring out which ones to trust, how often to eat them, and yes, how to know when to walk away entirely. First up, the label decoding game. Rule number 1. Always read the sodium content. If the can has more than 200 milligrams per serving, pause. Then check the serving size, because some brands sneakily defined 1 serving as half the can. If you know you're going to eat the whole tin, and let's face it, you are, multiply that number by 2. Rule number 2. Look for BPA-free packaging. It's usually written somewhere on the label in fine print. If it's not there, assume the worst. You're too seasoned to roll the dice on chemical exposure. Rule number 3. Check the oil. Olive oil is king. Extra virgin, even better. Avoid soybean, canola, or vegetable oil. These can be inflammatory and cheap fillers. Water-packed is an option too if you're watching calories or fat intake, but the flavor may suffer. Trade-offs, always. Rule number 4. Skip the sauce. No tomato paste, mustard glaze, or spicy chili delight. These often come with added sugars, acids, and preservatives your stomach doesn't need. If you want spice, add your own crushed red pepper or a little lemon juice at home, without the lab chemistry. Next, how often should you actually eat sardines? Here's the golden ratio, 1 to 2 cans per week. That's enough to reap the benefits, omega-3s, protein, calcium, without overloading your system with purines, salt, or mystery metal compounds. It also gives your palate a break. Even the best sardines can become exhausting when they start tasting like obligation. If you're still unsure whether they're right for you at all, ask yourself, do I feel bloated or foggy after eating them? Do I get reflux or strange joint aches soon after? Do I keep eating them just because I think they're healthy?
Because health isn't just what a food does on paper. It's how it makes you feel in the real world, while walking, thinking, sleeping, digesting, remembering names, and opening jars. That brings us to the off-ramp strategy. Maybe sardines just don't vibe with you. That's okay. There's no food so magical that you have to eat it, especially not one that comes in a can with a key you have to pry open like a bank vault. Here are a few sardine alternatives that still deliver powerful nutrients. Salmon, especially canned wild Alaskan, also low in mercury, high in omega-3s, with a milder flavor and gentler texture. Try the kind with skin and bones for extra calcium. Chia seeds, packed with omega-3s, fiber, and protein. Sprinkle them on oatmeal or in smoothies. Eggs, high-quality protein with vitamin D and brain-friendly choline. Scramble them, boil them, whisper to them lovingly. Nuts and seeds like walnuts and flax, omega-3s, fiber, and healthy fats. Just watch the portions, they're calorie-dense. Leafy greens for calcium without the fishy drama. Kale, bok choy, and collards are your best friends. If you're still craving that savory umami hit sardines provide, try mashing up some canned salmon with a touch of olive oil, lemon juice, and capers. It's like grown-up tuna salad, minus the fishy hauntings. But let's say sardines do work for you. You feel energized, satisfied, sharp. Then here's your senior savvy move. Create a sardine ritual. Don't just eat them straight from the can like a sea-wary pirate. Plate them. Pair them with avocado slices and whole grain toast. Add a squeeze of lemon, a crack of black pepper, maybe a side salad. Light a candle if you're feeling cheeky. Make it a moment, not just a health habit. Because when you enjoy your food with intention, digestion improves, nutrients absorb better, and frankly, life feels richer. And if sardines don't work for you, let them go. No guilt, no shame. The superfood label isn't a life sentence. There's no one food that will save you or ruin you. It's the pattern, the habit, the consistency. You've lived long enough to know. 1 tin of sardines doesn't define your health. But knowing when to say yes, maybe, or never again, that's wisdom you've earned. So go ahead, walk past that sardine aisle with confidence. Or grab the can, rinse it off, and prepare it like royalty. Either way, you're in charge now. Not the fish, not the label, not the food fads on morning television. Just you, making smarter choices for the only body you've got. Now, let's dim the lights a little more, slow everything down, and ease into our wind down. You've made it through the salt, the bones, the burps, and the benefits. Now, as the night settles in and the glow of your screen softens, let your body relax. Let your shoulders drop. Let your breath deepen. The truth about sardines, and really about all foods, isn't black and white. It's not always about healthy or harmful. It's about how it feels in your body, how it fits your life, and what it adds to your days. Maybe tonight you'll toss that last can of sardines. Maybe you'll plan a better way to eat them tomorrow. Or maybe you'll simply choose something else entirely. Because peace, comfort, and sleep matter more right now than any nutrition label ever could.
Let the facts fade. Let your worries float out like low tide. Your heart knows what it needs. Your gut knows when it's content. Trust them. Feel the cool air brushing your skin. Hear the quiet hum in the background, whether it's the fan, the crickets, or the steady pulse of nighttime silence. You've taken in so much tonight, not just about fish, but about yourself, about how your body is changed, how it still serves you, and how you can keep honoring it. Tomorrow will come with choices, but for now, just rest. You've earned it. Let your mind drift. Let your body sink into stillness. And if you dream of sardines, may they be dancing gracefully, far, far away from your gut.